Welcome, everybody, to another edition of your least favorite podcast, Personal Flash Paper. I am your host, Randy Glenn, and with me live tonight, Ryan. I can't beat the guy who hasn't played in 2 years more.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Big news, everybody. I lost to Randy. However, D&D, I killed him.
He did kill D&D.
Oh,
He
we were
killed
playing,
D&D.
man, my dice were playing D&D, and I was on fire.
He was on
In
fire.
fuego.
He was in
It was
fuego.
crazy.
So clearly, the end is nigh.
And the end is, in fact, nigh. And the person with 7 seconds left on the doomsday clock, always bringing it home. That Baker kid. The dice are fickle bitches. Rob Baker.
Dice are fickle bitches. Dice are fickle bitches.
Did you guys actually see that though? That they have the doomsday clock and every year they put it out and it's at 7 seconds right now or something.
The Society of Nuclear Scientists
yeah,
or something? Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it was like that last year and I think the year before and whatever.
You know, and I'm probably going to have some of this wrong. I'm going to offend somebody. Actually, I'm not, because nobody that's going to be a 7-day Adventist is going to listen to us. But
You don't know that.
I'm going to put money on it. Right
Okay.
now. I'll put
If
money
you're
on it.
a 7-day.
Because I know the three of us aren't, and so there's like one other person.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, but yeah, that was like he started like he's like, this is when the world's gonna, or when Jesus is gonna come back,
yeah,
and the world's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
end, and that date, and he was like, oh, I did the math wrong, and he put another date, and I did it again, and he put another date, and then after that he was like, it's gonna end, and like, but he like literally like
Just get moving the goal. Yeah. Right. And people still. Yeah. No, I know. So today we should talk about what we have games going again, which is.
We're going to talk about sponsor.
We can talk about sponsor, but listen.
Okay.
I want to talk about the fact that we have games going on in the sponsor building,
Yeah.
which is Tabletop Games and Hobby in Overland Park, Kansas.
oh, we got it right.
Boom! I got it right.
And
Which and littering and
Just throwing them out there.
and
like a mine layer.
smoking the reefer.
What?
Super Troopers. You never saw?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Gotcha.
Come on, meow.
Come on,
meow.
right, meow.
I'll call somebody a cat fucker.
Are we gonna have the meow episode? We're gonna have to have a meow episode now.
We probably have to meow.
Right, meow.
Yeah. Anyway, so we had our games going, which was epic. Which is always great. We had 6 people show up to Infinity Night.
Yep.
A couple people canceled last minute.
Yep.
So we had an even number, which definitely helps.
Which maxed out the social distancing. I
Yeah.
will say that
Yeah.
worked out really nice.
Yeah, we have a nice little room that we can shut off to everybody, and then we have 2 on one side of the gaming hall and 1 table going on the other. I got to play Ryan, and I said I was going to bring Nomads, and I didn't. I had a
Which
list
I
of-
believe on the Facebook, I said,
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm gonna
You're-
technically I'm still winning.
Yeah, he's winning. So I was going to do is I was going to proxy a list of Nomads to see what I wanted to buy.
I mean, you have a bunch of nomads.
Yeah. What did you get? 2 Spectres?
I mean,
No,
I
I mean,
bought
like,
no,
models. I mean, you
Ryan,
probably need
I bought.
you need bases and
Yeah, I
one
bought.
thing.
If there was only bases, somebody sold me models without bases, and
What a dick.
that is a
I mean,
dick move.
if you want the bases, I mean, $1 a piece. I get you.
$1 a piece.
I sold you the
Yeah, I
models.
sold you the
man.
models.
I didn't tell you the
I didn't
bases.
think about that. Oh my god! You know that's typical of a guy that drinks cider. That is what a guy that drinks cider would do. So we did get to play a game. So that's what this is going to be about. I think today we're going to talk about some games. You got a game.
Yep, I got a
don't even
game
know what
in.
you brought, but Rob won. So 2 out of the 3 people on the podcast were victorious tonight. And 1 person just wasn't. So you know what? Before we go into this, so Rob and I had a successful day. I mean I didn't really watch your.
Somebody's trying to FaceTime Ryan as he is recording.
What is going on?
Well, the funny thing is, it's not for me. Actually, it's probably for Riley.
Hello. So one of us, so 2 of us had a strategy, then we stuck to it. And I didn't really pay attention to your game tonight, Ryan. I don't really know what was going on in it per se. I was too busy winning my. I was playing against you.
I was going to say,
So
did you not pay attention to Ryan's game? You were
Trust
playing
me,
it.
if you'd have saw how the way he played and rolled, you wouldn't have paid attention either.
Yeah,
you just sat
you
there and
didn't need
ate and drank. You didn't need to. So, what did you bring tonight for funsies? And we really did play for fun because I did. To all joking aside on making fun of Ryan, and I will hold this over his head for. So So all jokes aside, I was super rusty, and you agreed that we were going to kind of baby step the game, and we went over like a lot of the rules again for N4 from N3. So it was a lot of fun. We definitely had a very cooperative game of talking everything through, which I needed.
And there were a lot of things too, like we had to I know that's changed in N4, but how does it change? And so we had to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's in different models. I mean, I did bring steel phalanx and
not nomads,
and I did not bring nomads. I have an idea of nomads, and I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of terrified to play nomads right now because I realized playing tonight why I like steel phalanx so much. It fits my style of play. I am not an Alva Strike person. I am very much a sit back and let the game come to me and pick and choose my lanes and pick and choose what I'm going to do the way I want to do it. And the nomad list I'm making is very much turn one in your grill, and it freaks me out a little bit because I don't know how to play that. So I'm going to have to try to switch my mind off of the defensive. And I'm sure I play steel phalanx wrong, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? Steel phalanx defensive?" I play super snipery defensive. I pick lanes. I try to make you choose. I roll really well, which helps a lot.
rolling dice well is a thing.
So we did get to play. Hotlanta as a total reaction sniper is better than advertised, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when we talked about the profile, we were like, oh, it's this. But, I mean, she's pretty stupid.
Well, hitting on 18s, right?
I mean, it's straight up. It's just 18. It's just, she's
of the time.
She's a BS of 15, and she's got,
A.
she's, 96, whatever it is, 96 inches out. You're not escaping her.
Yeah.
So she's hitting on 18s. She takes away your cover. I mean, unless you're going to throw out,
Eclipse smoke or white noise or something. Yeah.
She's seeing you. And she's got the burst of 2 as a total reaction. So she can actually sit and where she used to be very glass cannon for me because the one shot, it was always the fear with the snipers because you react as one. And somebody would do what Ryan did tonight, which is he came out with the Red Fury, or you come out with an HMG or something. Because you brought Onyx, right? And Ryan plays very aggressive. So I don't know if it was a matchup problem, but after the game we had talked about it, and I think that every player when you're in my shoes, which is new again, and trying to play, and then you have an experienced player, we were talking it out, and I had made a side comment to Ryan because I had Toser. Wow, Tooser.
Yeah, Tooser.
I don't know.
Feuerbach.
Yeah, so I had him sitting with the Feuerbach, and he was on kind of like the middle of the board, but he was facing like a lane that we had, and I just off-puttingly said didn't do anything. Well, he didn't do anything.
Because you spent no orders on it. He had no AROs.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything.
Wow.
And I said that to Ryan. And he said, well, actually, he stopped this whole flank from getting rolled up because I couldn't.
I couldn't
because
I
the
couldn't
Feuerbach
I
and the
couldn't
MSV
move.
too.
Yeah, because I had 2. Well, so on the Onyx, I took the triplets. I took the 3 drones.
He did.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yeah, he did.
Just to play with it, and one of them actually pushed up really well and would have been sitting in a good spot, but the man got hit and he failed all of the armor rolls.
Yeah, I critted, and we had this, and this was one of the discussions we had because we actually. Infinity can be a pretty quick game if you two people know exactly what they're doing and you're just kind of blah, 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 blah. I didn't know what I was doing, so every decision I had to look at my profile and I had to ask Ryan, and then we would talk it out, right? And so we did.
And we even rolled some things back.
Yeah.
We're like, okay,
let's roll
he was
back.
like, oh no, that has this. Okay, well that's gonna.
Yeah, because he asked a mimetism, and I looked at the wrong profile, and I was like, oh, they don't have mimetism. I'm like, oh crap! I was like, they do. Hold on a second. Let's. If you want to move back and read, and he's like, yeah, I want to do this. Then that this would be a better. And we talked about it, and it was kind of nice because when you're playing a game and kind of getting refreshed, the pandemic really wreaked havoc on all of us. In the gaming. As we were playing, I can't remember at what point we did it, but I had critted with Hotlanta, and I was looking at her. What ammunition to use, and you're supposed to declare it.
Oh,
whether or not you're using the armor piercing
or
DA. And Ryan made a point to me, and I said, well, again, how does this work? And he's like, well, you can half my armor, or each shot is 2 for when you're rolling the saves. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I'm going to do the armor piercing. Then I'm going to half your armor because it would go from 5 to 2.5, then it goes back up to 3. And he made the side comment. He goes, that's fine. I'll do it. But just so you know, it makes more sense if the armor's 6, you want to do the armor piercing, and above, anything below that, you want to do the DA. And I said, oh, okay, well, it doesn't matter. I made the choice. Roll it out. But he ended up.
Turns out it
didn't matter. It didn't matter. He failed it all. He failed the world on it, and it did drop. It did drop one of the. And it was kind of weird because I made the joke. I said, "You're playing like you have Achilles, like how I play Achilles," because he ran this thing up the board, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" Because when you don't play, when you don't play, well, yeah.
Well, so the idea, the whole was the Xenotron came up, and then you had Machion and Hotlanta, right? And I could actually get up and be outside of Hotlanta's plus range, so I can drop her to a 15, right?
Oh, 15 instead of 18, yeah.
Right. Yeah. But she's going to have 2 shots versus my 4, right? And I'm going to be, she's going to be 2 shots on a 15 no matter what, and I'm going to probably be within plus range, so I'm going to be 4 shots on a 13, maybe a 16 if I can get angle, right?
So you were looking at the weighted dice.
The weighted dice, right? Yeah. And then he actually used Machion to throw some Eclipse Smoke, and so then I was going to hit at her and pop into that Eclipse Smoke for the part of that move, right? And then he can't see her, and now I can zip around to the back side, right? And he hit me with a crit and then a wound.
It was a crit.
So basically, I rolled 3. I had to roll 3 dice, right? And I failed all 3 of them, and they have 3 structures, so he goes to unconscious. So I was like, I just needed him to survive 1. Had he survived 1, he would have been able to get around to the back.
Well, because you would have had the next. I mean, I might have got one more shot for you to do it because that was your second.
I was in. I know because I ended that in the Eclipse Smoke.
Right. You ended, yeah. So the way I had set up. So Ryan and I had this discussion. So we really played the game. It felt like a brand new game for me learning because we rolled off. And if there isn't a clue that Achilles is your LT, he was like, "All right, roll." And I was like, "What's the roll again? It's whip, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, I rolled like a 10. Mine's like, I think you were an 11 or something."
I was 12. I think.
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, well, I'm a 15," and I rolled, and I think I rolled like a 14 or something. And I was like, "Well, I guess who my lieutenant is." And he kind of looked at me. He goes, "Okay, remember, just you don't have to tell me." And so I was like, "So we went over my choices again." I'm like, "So I get to pick? Do I pick both or one?" And he's like, "Well, you get to pick one." I said, "Well, you deploy first, and I pick the side." So I picked the deployment setup, and I was fully expecting Ryan to say, "You go first." I was like, I'm sure he's going to make me. He was like, "No, I'll go first." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Say, Ryan has typically said in the podcast, if he's given the choice, he's taking that first turn.
And I also, I don't know. I mean, so the scenario we played, which I don't even recall now. It actually benefits.
What's in that cider?
Yeah, it actually benefits going second, like having the last
because it's the 3 posts, and there's the 2 that you can hack. The 3 you can hack, and you get the
acquisition.
Acquisition, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
So we were playing it, and
no, technically we were just shooting each other. We barely played this.
We did. I in the first turn I flipped a switch, but when he said that it kind of bad, and just to discuss it because we only talked for briefly, and then we said we'll save it for podcasting and whatever, and Rob was playing his game still. I was really befuddled why you chose to, because you had to deploy first and then go first. And so I got to counter deploy to you and then watch what you did. So why, I mean, like, all that said, if you had to redo it, would you have gone second, do you think?
No.
You still would have went,
first. And the reason being, had I have known everything that was going to be out there, where you were going to play stuff, at that point, sure.
Right.
But now, because I still think if you deploy first, you allow your opponent to counter deploy, and then you allow them to have the first turn. If they're a Rambo player, they know they rolled you, right? And then the only way to counter that is if you totally turtle and hide and protect. But I will tell you, the table we played on was one of Rob's, and you need to adjust that table.
I don't know. I think Randy agrees with it being good.
it's a lot of odd shapes. It's very hard to pull.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's very hard to see what can see.
Okay, that's
so
fair.
so I think you need a mix of more solid structures,
Squares
with well, not even squares, but just some
No,
solid.
because we had this discussion because there was like the antenna. There was the antenna models, and then some of them were kind of like square based, but then they had like pillars, so you could kind of see around. And we actually had this conversation at the start of 2, where Ryan he said I can see through. Can I see through this, or is it solid? But then when we decided on that, and we both said we don't care. It's either all or nothing.
Yeah.
But then there's here's the structure in the middle of the board. And then it get really tricky because you could kind of see through things, but then the way we had stacked up the crates, there were little gaps. So he had big tags and I didn't, so I could see your tag.
So you can see through some of that stuff.
Oh,
to the middle. But so then we had to decide, and then so Ryan and I did. I said you can either roll it or we can just know, or I don't care. One way or the other, it just has to count. And we chose not to, but
and a lot of it, I think, when there's that table. Also, it's flat.
Yeah, it was flat.
Like
there's
everything
no
blocks.
structures.
There's no going up and getting angle. There's no.
Yeah, it was definitely more. It felt like more like of a fire lane type of game instead of a height. But you did do the super jump shenanigans a couple times, which is.
Well, because I had to.
so we definitely, I forgot about this game. How much positioning comes into where you're literally, when you tell people Infinity is a talkative game, a very interactive opponent game, until you're going, can you see me here? What about here? What about here?
Is this good?
Is this all right?
Can you see me now?
Yeah. Can you
see me now?
Good. Yeah. But I mean, like we did that. I mean, there was like at least 4 or 5 times. I was like, I think I can see you. Are you sure? Let's look up at this. And then you're literally. But the thing is that the fatter and lazier I get, the less willing I am to get down to table level and look behind a model. And I was just kind of like looking at it, and I just kind of like. So I think
there is a picture.
And Randy was like looking at one of the things. He was like, I could totally see it. I'm down looking. I was like, there's no way. There is no way.
Oh, I can see.
So I took a picture of you guys and posted it to the Personal Flash Paper Facebook page, where both of you are down table level and looking across the table at each other's models or whatever. And I was just like, this is amazing. Well, because you guys are totally engrossed.
Well, the thing that's crazy is that what I forgot when we were doing it was, and Ryan pointed out, because one of the times I was like, I can see your base, and he's like, but can you see a square? And I'm like,
3 millimeter square.
Can you see it? And so it was weird because I could see the base, but see that was the terrain problem we had, because one of the times it was I can see you. But when you do the imprint of the terrain, it had came out just enough that I was using the pole as the marker and not the base of what I was looking at.
Gotcha.
So where the thing was, so then when we put the laser pointer out and we did the line, it was so weird because it would go to the edge and it would. And I'm like, oh my god, this is one of those stupid GW things where you almost want to go odds and even it. But most of the time it was. I mean, if we were playing for $1 million, maybe, but it's a friendly game on a beer Wednesday. Who cares? Like, no, okay, good.
It's Cider Wednesday.
Cider Wednesday. Sorry.
I just finished my beer, this is reminding me of the PFP of old, where we're drinking, and this is amazing.
Except for me, I have the root beer.
You got the Pib Extra.
Yeah, that's not root beer.
Oh, I do, Pib. I didn't get root beer.
Nope. Pib Extra.
Yep.
Well,
I don't even know what you're drinking.
He's just high on life because he won. He beat you.
Listen, I didn't just beat him. I shut him out.
Yeah.
Oh, he scored
out.
No points.
Yeah.
No points.
Well, Hotlanta was in a great spot that and
yeah.
Between 2 of the tags were pinned between Hotlanta and Tusser, and I had no way to, like, one of them actually I ran for it, right, and he still took a wound from making the run.
Yeah. There was the thing is that I really, and it's been a long time since I've played Infinity. You still remember war gaming, and it's not like I was playing something totally foreign. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I always played kind of fast, aggressive Warhammer armies, War Machine. but in my that makes me have to think to play that way. I want to be the dwarf player. I want to be sitting on my table edge and just shoot the piss out of you and go, whatever. What do you want to do?
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, I'm good
I
with
mean,
that.
in hindsight, thinking about what option, I should have done another combined order and put it on, and so I would have moved both of those tags over and then something else. So Hotlanta could have only picked one of the 3 models to shoot at.
Yeah,
and then I would have repositioned.
I think that's one of the things that as we all come back here in the Kansas City area and we start really gaming on a week to week basis, the issue is knocking off that rust, right? Because you're talking about a combined order. Now that you say that, in my game, I was like, oh, I totally could have used a combined order.
Yeah, I mean, I used the combined order to put a bunch of suppressive fire into my turn, but I should have moved. And I was like, I could have moved him, and then it would have restricted what you shot at. Also, I haven't played Onyx for a long time. I've been playing Akari forever. So I literally broke him out because I wanted to play the 3 tags. I'm like, I don't play 3 tags.
Well, he actually said it, and it's weird because I don't know everybody's name in the Kansas City area that plays anymore. He said, "You're playing how many tags? What are you doing?" And Ryan's like, and I looked at the models and I was like, well, this game's gonna be over in 30 effing seconds. This is nothing. I'm gonna get rolled up. And then you forget about that's the thing about this game that you really do forget about is you forget the defensive capabilities of elite armies because you can kind of go 2 ways with it.
Yeah.
And I really thought I was gonna get rolled up, but then you put mimetism into the mix, and you put cover into the mix, and next thing you know, Ryan's hitting on. There's a couple times he was like, "I'm on 5s," and I'm like, "Well, I'm on 18s." And
I mean, there was one time I was on 4s, and I rolled a 1 and a 3, and Randy
I
rolled a 4.
I rolled a 4. Yeah, I did. I was like, 1 and 3 makes 4.
So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I did, however, get to use triangulated fire.
He did. I wanted to die when he did it. So Macion was sitting there with his rifle, right? And he's sitting there with his mimetism and sitting behind cover. And Ryan peeks out. I can see him. And he shoots at me. And he's like, I need 4s. And I'm like, yeah, I think I was on 15 minus 3, so I was on 12s. So I kept rolling and beating him because it's just the number description. It doesn't matter how many dice you throw at somebody. I mean, all it takes is one decent roll, and that's done. And he goes, "This is stupid. Triangulating fire." And I'm like,
What the fuck is that?
"What?" Yeah. I was like, "You're doing what? Is this a new thing?" And he's like, "It is a new thing. So I don't care about this and this." And I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Well, I still need 7."
I went from 4.
It was
7.
It was 8s.
Yeah,
it was
8s, yeah, whatever.
It was an M drone. So but we were laughing and I was able to do it twice.
Yeah, he was like, okay. Oh, all right. And then he'd get the hits, and then I would just save it with armor and all right, move on.
Just move on.
Well, yeah. I mean, there is mechanisms in the game because I think when you come from other gaming systems, it's all offensive, and it's very rarely do you think of a tanky defensive. I mean, we all came from a fantasy background, and so you remember the tanky dwarf lord and but usually people played like the high elf, the killie. It was always the shredder that you would go up against. And so, who's going first? Okay, I'm going to shred you. And that is what it is. And that's how it is. And this. Yeah, I can shred you, but I can also take, my 75-point model can take a lot of hits. And I did some wonky things in that game because I did a weird thing where I kept crossing and I kept shooting with Achilles at one of his tags, and then my other tag I would use Hotlanta. And then I was like, well, I'm going to get cute with this, and I'm going to move Achilles over there and use Achilles with 4 shots.
With a combi rifle?
With his Spitfire. And so Ryan was like, okay, well, now you're in the open, and I hit on this, and I'm like, oh, I made it worse. This sucks. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use Hotlanta from here on out. And then we must have got 3 orders in, and Ryan goes, oh, I'm an idiot. I could be moving out of the way. And I'm like,
I did. So the tag was I was just tanking the hits.
He's taking
I'd stay in there. I'd take a wound.
Yeah.
I'd save like 4 of them, take 1. I'm like, all right, I'd stay there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could just move back here behind cover.
Yeah. so he finally does, and I'm like, oh, I wish you'd have done that a couple orders ago, and I stopped shooting at it, and I just repositioned myself. But I did the same thing Ryan did. I mean, like I had 1 order left after each first and second turn, and instead of putting people into suppressive fire, which I should have done, I did something. I do like something wacky where I'd run out and put some man around a corner, and because after the first turn, I think I said oh, I'm an idiot. I should have put Pentelecia, I should have put Machion and Achilles all into suppressive fire, and because I was literally sitting on mid board, and 2 of the models were behind cover. And it would have just been like, here, have
Come
fun.
at me, bro.
Have fun, because you wouldn't have popped your head out ever again. But I was like, no, I'm going to run Pentelecia up over here. And then Ryan's like, okay, order 1. I'm going to shoot Pentelecia. I'm like, oh, she's going to die again. Makion's going to have to get her up. And then, oh, stupid. But I kept using her to coup de grace Ryan's tags and stuff. So I would get Pentelecia up. She'd move her 8, and then I'd be like, coup de grace, and Ryan's like, fine.
Wow, sounds like Ryan did not have a very good game.
Well, so there's a lot, and I mean that list is very gimmicky on a couple things, right? It's got 3 tags. It's got 2 M drones, which is a Forward Observer bots. It's got the Q drone, which is the total reaction bot. It has an E drone to buff the Q drone, right? So there's 7 models that has Dr. Worm to heal stuff. So there's 8, and then I have Nexus Lieutenant who hides in the corner, and then it has Bit and Kiss, right? Which is there's a lot of things, playing it. There's a lot of things it lacks. Right, there's a lot because once the Q drone goes down, my range drops to 24. Right, I've got it, then push up. So I need to figure out how to adjust that. I don't know. I don't know if the 3 Zeodrons is really viable outside of a fun game. I don't think you would take that to a tournament.
Fun game.
Funny.
Three of them. That's a fun game.
Yeah.
Dickhead.
I mean, at least I put models on the table.
That's true. I put models on the table.
No, I'm just saying. And then here's my courtesy list of nothing.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, my God. Andrew, if you're listening to me, that's what this is aimed at, Andrew. This is your fault. They're bringing this up.
Yeah. But I also think, it depends on how the lane's set up. So, I mean, it would be interesting to see if we switched, if Randy deployed first, right? And then I counter deployed, and, if that would have changed.
Well, that's why I wanted you to deploy first, so that even if you said you go first, I at least got to look at it.
Yeah.
Because I think that if you get the first choice, you have to really decide. And I honestly think that deploying second is always, if you're going to pick deploying, I think deploying second is always the choice.
I do too. It's still, the more I look at it, I still think choosing the deployment
is better.
Side and order is
exponentially better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because when I saw your deployment, you had hid your they were hidden.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was hidden, and then I was like, well, I needed to kind of do the same thing. And what I had done is I just basically kind of mirrored up against what he did, and then I just picked lanes, and then so every time he peeked out,
popped him.
We're gonna. Well, it was it's kind of weird because, in all honesty, when you're the newbie, it's one's beginner's luck, but you're kind of ignorant to everything, and I didn't care about asking. Ryan's like, you want me to explain it? I'm like, you can explain every one of those models, and in 5 seconds, I'm gonna be like, what the hell does that thing do again? And he said, Red Fury, and I'm like, I don't really care. It's 3 big bots, 3 big tags are coming at me. Excellent, but the thing about Infinity that you have to remember, if there's any new people still listening, is that you can only move 1 model at a time. So it's not like it's my turn. Here comes all of my models up, and then what do you want to do? This is my model. Pick and choose.
This is my order.
And so if you can put people in a position to, when I was in the service, when I was in the Army, whenever we would defend something, right, in real life or in tactical training, we used to do a thing with chicken wire or barbed wire, concertina wire, whatever you want to, you call it what you want, but we always call it concertina wire, and you would make a funnel, and you'd make people choose path of least resistance, right? It was in any military infantry school, they'll tell you, like, people will take a path instead of walking through the woods or something, and that's actually a bad idea because paths are where you can get ambushed. So Infinity, real life tactics actually kind of work because if you can try to funnel, it doesn't always work, but my whole goal when I set up was if I took away the flanks and made you come into the center, I was hoping that like the Diva bot would be able to do some work. That Achilles would be able.
It didn't.
It didn't do anything. No. I did kill your drone in the middle. I lit it on fire.
It was already dead.
I lit it on.
Hotman already
fire.
dropped it. You just burned it. Says it's sitting there.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Since you're being such a smart ass,
Have you
what
met Ryan?
model caused you to grab that model, pick it up, and put it away in your case? Was it the Diva bot? I rest my case, Your Honor. I rest my case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I rest my case.
Actually, no, it was Hotlanta because she took all the wounds and dropped it so they.
Right, but it was still sitting there waiting for your Dr. Worm engineer stupid guy, and I said, well, I have to deal with that, and how do I deal with it? And I flamed it.
Also, he brought Skyla as the Evo hacker.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
That was a mistake because he had no remotes for her to buff.
Oh.
So he just needed the normal hacking thing.
So, Randy, you talk about real-world tactics, and in my game, it was capture and protect.
Oh,
against
God, we got to talk about Rob.
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
We're talking about Randy's
Remember?
in my game, and Rob's
Yep.
like, oh, no.
I played a game, and I did really well against a really good player,
hold-
so you're not going to steal this away from me,
hold-
Brian Moore.
Hold on a second.
And volume up.
And I just...
And he's off.
So, for those of you who don't understand, I just muted Rob.
You motherfucker!
There he's back up.
No, so talking about real-world tactics, I funneled my opponent into a kill box, and he didn't have enough orders at the end of the game. And so your point about funneling people and being defensive is very well.
Well,
very
first
well
of all,
taken.
I want to listeners to understand that you're Air Force and you know nothing of tactics. Okay, you know
Motherfucker,
how to. You know how to.
to Air Base
listen,
Ground Defense
listen.
School at Fort Dix twice with the Army.
Yeah,
Because you failed. You failed
Yeah, because
once. Yeah, you failed twice.
No,
listen,
there was level 1, level 2.
listen,
the first time he was delivering the mail.
Yeah, Rob,
Shit, I wish.
Rob understands how to eat good chow and to just be chair force. Do not
God, I
talk.
wish it was that way. I wish.
Do not talk to us about. No, I'm just kidding. No,
I like how I said, do not talk to us. Yeah, like
like you.
oh, that's true. I forgot the one guy that didn't serve. You know what? My bad, dude. I'll stop making fun of you. I'll stop making fun of you. Turd.
College boy.
Well, yeah. The
hey,
funny,
I mean, I was going to join the Marines, and my dad, who was in Air Force, literally said, "You're not.
No.
You're going to college.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not joining. You're not joining service."
I'm gonna go on a limb here about the Marine Corps and Ryan. I mean, I don't know.
I
What
love you, but no.
Like,
I was going to be a chopper pilot,
Oh,
and I took the test and everything.
Did you really?
Uh-huh.
No, I believe you to be a pilot, a chopper pilot. You kind of have the build and the. Yeah, you could have done that.
Although I liked the Apache at the time better, which was Army, but the Cobra was. But I could do it. And I took the test, and they were like, "Yeah, you qualify. You can pick these things." And I'm like, "Oh."
I was
nice.
originally going to be chemical warfare defense because I also looked at the Marine Corps, and they were like,
Eat-
"Oh yeah,
eat
you
a
like
lot-
chemistry?" I was like, "Yeah, I love
Do you
chemistry."
no, I hate all of those things. I hate science, and I'm a nurse. I hate science. I'm a nurse. I don't know what to tell you.
Anywho,
Yeah. So no, you're right. But I think that our game. I actually think that Ryan and I's game came down to deployment first turn, and then I mean, obviously dice rolling are gonna to have some cause and effect. But I'll be honest. I was so shocked when that tag came before. I was like, "What the fuck is this thing?" And I was like, "I don't know if I'm gonna be able to kill it. I really don't know if you can." Because it was that model. It was that model.
And literally, because that was why I deployed all but one of the tags. Right, one is my reserve models, and I saw where everything was going, and knew Randy was going to put Achilles down, so I wasn't too worried about that.
But I held it in reserve.
But there was a path. there was a path up to Atlanta, right? So I could get into her zero range, so she would only be at 15s, right? But that's why I was going for the weighted dice, because literally had I popped her. It would have that entire lane would have been freed, and then the other two could literally march all the way up in Randy's.
Because Achilles,
deployment
I had
and really jack him.
Well, I actually made a joke. I didn't actually play Achilles until the second turn.
Yeah.
I didn't move him.
Rainbow?
I literally I was actually trying this time not to play with Achilles. I wanted to see if because every time I play Steel Phalanx, I end up just throwing everything out and going, "I'll take first turn. Achilles, go!" And I wanted to go. It's not fun. I mean, because it's like Achilles moves. I move 6. Spitfire. All right, Achilles moves 6. Here we go again. And he is a killing machine. I mean, I don't even want to say he's a killing machine. he's good at running up and kind of hitting soft things, but Achilles doesn't hit hard, big things hard. The armor saves you're gonna make. I mean, you're gonna do really well because what did you need on half of those saves? 7s and 8s, I think, to save. And then when Hotlanta was hitting it, you needed 11s and 12s, and I mean, I was really the amount of saves you had to make were just it started becoming bananas because she takes away the cover.
Yeah,
I mean they redid her. She's an auto. She's an auto including steel phalanx. To me, if I'm making a list, when you start looking at lists, it's steel phalanx. It used to be how do I get Achilles into the list, or how do I get Hector in the list, and I need to build off of. If she's not in your list, in my opinion, something you're missing. You're missing something because she's just better than everybody else.
I mean, and that's and you're right because like if you look at this is gonna drop it. So I'm looking like you have to get within 8 inches to drop her to even.
And she goes. And she's plus 3,
and that's a 12.
Yeah.
You drop her to a 12
because she's minus 3, right?
Minus 3 at that point, right? I mean, so normally she's hitting on 18s all of the time,
right?
Like
and it's,
all
and
of
it's
the time,
2 dice,
and it's 2 dice.
90% chance.
Yeah, but I think that to me, I think that's too much.
It's
how so?
I think she's too
right?
strong. I mean, so you're looking at it like, okay, you can throw smoke and MS. You can throw smoke and a mimetism -6 person and all that stuff, and she cares none of that, right? She doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
She's
got MSV, and so this is and so we're talking about the total reaction.
MSV too,
because there is the two, because there is a difference, but I think that the total reaction, Hotlanta is. I
mean, it's 5 more points. I don't know why you wouldn't spend 5 more points.
I was exactly at 300 points when I made my list, but when you look at her, I mean, she does 2 things really well. She outranges every. I mean, I'm saying this as somebody that doesn't know every army, and I'm sure somebody's listening right now going, "Well, there's this and this," and I get what I totally get what you're going to say, but when you come around the corner and she's sitting behind cover, you're at -3 to hit her. And she cares nothing about what you're doing. So she takes away your cover.
Marksmanship.
Right. Yeah. And then she's got the MSV, so I don't care if you throw the smoke and you're trying. You need Eclipse to deal with her.
Yeah. Well, no, so even Eclipse, so they can see. What you have to do is you have to have somebody with white noise.
Oh, that's true.
That drops down, right? And then you don't, which is how I've taken care of her in the past. But even so, all right, so she's going to be at -6 to shoot back at you. So,
okay.
So if you're in her good range, she's at
12. Right. Yep. So and she's shooting twice.
Yeah.
And she's going to outrange your HMGs, your Red Furies, your Spitfires. You're going to have to come at her, and she's almost at the point where's the edge of the table?
Yeah.
Is there a cover where I can see from where she's at down a lane or the whole board? Good luck.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to. Because we had an instance where you were in suppressive fire, and I actually made the joke. I was like, because the thing about Infinity, if you are newish, or it's almost like playing Magic the Gathering, because it's I do this in response to you doing it, I do, and it's so difficult when you're playing a game to not want to say the second thing. I move here, and I'm going to. Yeah, there's times when me and Ryan would both look at each other like, hold on a second, wait, don't say anything. Yeah. I get to choose first. Don't throw it in. And I was like, well, crap, you're in suppressive fire. I don't know. And then Ryan, I don't know how long I was thinking it. It wasn't probably. It was probably shorter than what it felt like. And he finally just said, if you're out of range, I have to declare. He said, I have to declare I'm using suppressive fire before I measure it.
Yep.
And if I'm out of range, it's ball game. And I was like,
yep.
And I said, so what's the range of it? And he told me, and I said, okay. And we both, I think we were both staring at it like, oh my God, this is close. Oh my God. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I mean, it was Machion. He was going to be at -9 to hit me.
Covering
because I was covered in mimetism, and I was just kind of like strafing it. And he went, well, I'm going to take one shot at you because I think you're out of range. And I was like, man, this is so close. And I think it was a half an inch, and he was.
No, it was like 28. We were over, but it was just like because it was angled.
Yeah, it was wonky. And so when he measured it, I was like, oh my God, okay. And then the thing about these Red Fury tags or any other, once you range them, they're just tanks. They're just garbage cans. And if you flub a roll, then they just sit there. And that was the problem the whole game. And that's at least where we were at. I mean, I think if that model gets like what you wanted to do, you roll me up and it's one turn, we're done. Or at least you'd have got there.
Yeah, so because my plan was like get in that Eclipse smoke and survive, and then he was going to roll around, and so then he'd have the what's the general dude? Not
who are you talking about?
Your general trooper guy. The
Myrmidon?
No,
I didn't.
Thracatai?
Yeah,
I had two of them.
Yeah.
I had two of them.
I would have had Thracatai and Penny, right?
Yeah.
Who I probably would have, I would have been able to plow through most of those. Right. And then I come around and then I have Tusser and Hotlanta in the back. Right.
Yeah.
So then I could take out those. Now, granted, you would have gone, Achilles would have come over and wiped him out, but I would have stripped 4 orders off of your 10 order list. And that was
I was
what
going to say, both of you guys were running single order or single groups.
Yeah, but mine's not. It is, but it's
it
not.
is.
It's 14. It's 14 orders. It's 14 orders.
It's right.
It's
seriously.
so it's 10 orders, 3 tactical awareness, and lieutenant. However, the lieutenant order does me no good because he sits in the back.
Right.
But
I kept forgetting to use my lieutenant order.
You haven't figured out a way to get NCO in that list?
no, there's only one.
There's
model I think that has an NCO, and that's the named Samaritan, which I picked up today, by the way.
Narcius?
Yeah, Narcius.
Narcius.
Yeah. But stripping those 4 orders would have dropped him to 6, right? So
And
even
that would have been really hard.
He would have had to bring Achilles over to take care of the tag, right? So that's probably 2 orders to reach me, right? So now he's at 4, and then he have to push up to flip the switches. I would have basically had a whole wide open area that then I could have pushed up and done a bunch of stuff and then still had the other 2 tags. Right?
It was literally Ryan made the calculated risk to run into the fire, and he got burned.
Well, I mean, it's one of the things that I was like, well, okay, so that he's armor 5 and 3 structure, so that he's got a good chance. Because I mean, I did it with the second one after I ran him across. I was like, okay, Hotlanta can pop him because she can do. Well, technically, she could do 6 wounds to him, right? If she has 2 crits, I'm rolling six dice, right? Yeah. But I knew that she's likely going to 1 or 2, and then he's still alive, which he did. So he jumped across, basically took a wound from her, and then he just kind of ran up, and then a lot of stuff. I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna shoot me with the combi rifle. I'm in cover, so I'm adding 8. So I'm gonna, you've got 1 dice versus my 4. So it is, I've got to start popping, even though I'm hitting on 7s.
Yeah.
Right. Or whatever.
And that was that was the whole thing is that I'm rolling 2 dice. Yeah, you have me, but it literally was, okay, I got 2 dice. I'm hitting on 18s. What are you hitting on? And it was, I'm hitting on 7. I'm hitting on 5. And he was all over the place because Steel Phalanx just basically says, to me, what Steel Phalanx is right now, if we were to do an army faction overview and we pick Steel Phalanx to me is a counterpunch army. I can sit there. You can sit back at Steel Phalanx as a second player and go, come on, but you better almost put your guys towing the line. So if you have 16 inches for deployment, you better go to 16 inches because you need to get as close as possible to get rid of all of those bonuses if you're going to play with some snipers. But the problem is that when you outrange something, you're now in the positive of the HMGs and the other things that they can come to bear.
And I also think a lot of it's this matchup, right? Because I think if I would have played my Akari with the 2 Rushis, right, who have MSV, don't care about that,
right? Yeah.
And then my weight of dice I could have put up there. Hotlanta would have been a huge issue, but I also would have 2 Yan-Yans, and the reason I haven't played them is because of the stupid FAQ rule on Yan-Yans. It makes no sense to me. On Impetuous Order airdrop troops, they don't get their irregular order.
Right,
which is dumb. Makes no sense because a regular hold on, let me get out my soapbox, everybody.
He's just mounted the soapbox.
So
that's Ryan getting out in the soapbox.
Yeah, so if you read how it works, like airborne deployment guy uses his own order
right
to come in. right? So during your order generation, here's your order pool of models on the table, and then each one of those guys have their own order, right? That's a regular order dude. When he comes in the table, he spends his regular order to come in. However, if it's an impetuous order, then they don't generate their other order, which is irregular or regular, right? That doesn't make any sense to me because I mean, you're basically making two different rulings on the same
order.
Rule. Now I've heard, and I just did air quotes that you all
because
listeners
that's
can
great
see.
radio.
Yeah. Well, technically we're not radio.
He's got
but,
a face for radio. Too.
He does.
I don't have, but I don't have the voice for it, which is really.
Hey, 2 strikes.
But
he
because
lost
they
to
wanted,
Randy. Strike 3.
yeah, exactly. They did it to tone down Duroc, right? But I'm like, okay, so you nerf this to
This
calm down
entire
one
rule?
model, but you basically invalidated all of these
Well,
other models.
let me ask you this question, because since we're gonna go there and you're on your soapbox, so question from the press, sir. Because I know nothing about the fat Yan-Yans other than they come with a pair of socks apparently, and
That's the
pretty
Christmas
That's the
one.
Christmas Yan
cool.
Yan.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's cool. Well,
And he's
there's-
on a motorcycle too.
By the way, there's a bunch of people. We have like 4 still left at tabletop. So if you want to get it, just take a look at our store.
Yeah.
Our store. But how many fat Yan-Yans can you have on a list?
Well, it's just Yan Yan. Fat Yan Yan was the special release.
Whatever. Okay, so Yan-Yan, how many can you have?
I think a car it can take 3.
I was gonna say
I typically
QK,
take
I think, has
take
3.
2,
So how many points are they?
like 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing why this is a thing now.
What?
Why they did it. I mean, like I understand they're trying to do it, but I mean, like running 3 of these things that
They don't. So, but they are very low stats. They're very.
does it matter? But I mean,
I use them mostly for the smoke and to cause a little havoc. They don't they chain rifles. They're not coming with any weapons. Their ballistic skill's like 11 now. It used to be 9. They're either gonna do one thing. They're gonna come in, they're gonna survive for like an order or 2 and die, or as I've had them do, they'll come in and they'll just wreck face just because your dice roll, right? So but
an 8 point
And in my game tonight, well, yeah, and
yeah,
in my
but
game
so
tonight,
but my thought is, I agree with that. Like whatever 8 point, right? But it's the ruling.
Okay.
Doesn't make
The
sense.
ruling doesn't make sense. The two don't align. You're not simplifying it because you're like, oh, it's this way for one and it's this way for another. I'm like, but it's the same skill.
Same skill.
So that's my.
Well, I mean, I get the great, but I mean, sometimes I just want to play devil's advocate on an issue because I can see if you're because the problem I think the problem in any game, Infinity is definitely no different. That when these cheapy models hit a certain point of good, like I expect to lose. I expect to get my face wiped out by your tags or I think everybody's like, oh, Atlantia went nuts. I lost. Okay, I mean, hands up.
It is what it is.
Achilles. Yeah. There's certain models you're like, all right, well it did what it was supposed to do. I flubbed a roll and I'm cool losing to that. But I think if you drop in these I'm sorry. The Sakyans.
Yeah.
Sakyans.
Well, but see the
the
thing.
Sakyans.
But see the thing is, Randy, that's not why they apparently fixed it. Was not they changed it? They didn't change it because of the Yan-Yans. They apparently changed it. Rumor has it changed it
it's a
for
rumor.
Duroc, right?
Right. But I mean, but rumor.
so-
But the rumors. Like I look at the rumors of things. Like I look at like the Facebook pages of almost anything.
Yeah.
It's the people that just are like, well, you know why they did that because I run Duroc and I'm the best player in the
I'm the best.
Infinity world, and
Well,
they're nerfing me. This is my army's nerfed. Oh my god.
Yeah, it may be, but I just don't like the ruling because
Sure,
it's like
no, I get that.
because
Clear it
like
up.
you did this whole thing on N4 to simplify stuff,
And then
you have this that's like, oh, it's the exact same thing, but it's handled 2 different ways.
Right.
And
No,
so-
I
So
get
if you're
that.
going to simplify it,
Yeah.
simplify it.
Yeah. So it's got to be one or the other, and if it's the way they don't generate the regular order, then how do you just have to spend a regular order from your pool to bring regular order dudes in, right? It's got to be that way.
So I think the better fix for the Yan-Yans then would be to just jack their points up. Instead of making an 8-point model, make them 15 points and they get to do their thing. I'm throwing an arbitrary number out there.
Yeah, I don't think points wise for what they did, I don't think they were underpointed.
But I'm saying is if you're trying to stop the way the orders work, right? Like you're saying, like I want a ruling to be consistent and I want it to be simple. And if you're saying that they're trying to the rumor or whatever is the Duroc model, and the Yon kind of got caught in the blast of it, and here we go. Well, the simple way to fix all of those is just do a points adjustment on the one model or whatever
or
model
both
you're-
models.
right, or
so
whatever
I
you're
think-
trying to fix.
Yeah, so I mean, if you think Duruk's too strong, then you adjust his points.
That's what I'm
right?
saying.
And,
Just
yeah,
adjust
you
his points,
adjust
and you're
the
good.
one and you're-
If that's what you're aiming
Yeah.
for, then aim for the model, and then just because you end up doing more harm than
Yeah.
good. But
It's the cascading effect,
Right.
right? Because what you're talking about is I'm going to change this thing that impacts this rule. Well, the rule is widespread.
yeah.
sure,
So
sure.
Well, and I think that and it's just. I think if you change a rule to fix one model, any rule, right, to fix or just one model, then there's something wrong with that one model, right? I mean,
It's
you
not the rule.
don't make a global rule change to correct
Yeah.
a single model unless that's the only model that has that rule, right? Like,
Right.
uh,
No, I get what you're
and
saying.
So I do think
Would you like to step down now from your soapbox? Is there
yeah, we can go back. Hold on.
All right, good. Ryan
we've
has
got,
Ryan,
we've got sound effects.
we are fancy in the space room,
in the space room.
sci-fi room,
the sci-fi room, whatever, space sci-fi.
space, sci-fi,
Kind of. I'm going to call it the Pink Floyd room with the lights.
the Poe Dam room.
Yeah, that's true.
We got Poe looking on us.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. I mean, that's what you're into. I would have rather been like Leia, but whatever.
Jabba the Hutt, face it.
Ryan wants Jabba the Hutt.
No, I was talking about that's what you would rather have.
No, you. I said Leia. You said Jabba, and you want Poe. Okay, listen. We know where.
But it is
we're-
Poe.
Um,
It's not that that's what I wanted.
I mean, we've been going for like 15 minutes now, so should we let Rob talk about his game?
Oh yeah. Well, no, he
Should we give
did talk about the
he's
kill
good?
box.
Okay, so
Yeah,
let's go
I'm
back
good.
to
Yeah,
let's go back to you and I.
Let's go back to you and I because our game was far more tactically sound. I listened to their game, and Rob, hold on a second. You know what, Rob? Please tell the listeners what you did with your tactical stuff. Did you make a mistake on the list though, there, buddy?
Your tactical stuff?
So
Yeah.
The tactical rocks?
yes, the tactical rocks. So the army list does not allow for having 16 dudes. It just keeps 300 point or less allows for any number of dudes. So the army list didn't catch that I put 16 people, 16 models.
Oh, so you cheated.
No, because it was a Bashi Bazook that I left off the table. So I was fighting with whatever that point cost would be.
$2.99.
Yeah.
Was it a
Well,
1.1?
287 or whatever.
Yeah, there's and actually, I was thinking about I'm gonna have to send an email to Mike Byer because there's a couple things.
Thanks, Mike Byer.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the Army app, but there's a couple things that it doesn't do when you hit the play mode. Like, you can select the wounds as you're in the play mode, but my iPad kept resetting and clear all that. I didn't restart it. It didn't do anything, but they would all go away. Also, if you have Bit and Kiss, she's on there in her stats in the play mode, but
Kiss isn't.
the remote's not on there with his stats. So you have to go back to the list and look. And there's a couple things on there that I'm like, oh. And I also still don't know how to print courtesy lists.
Yeah, the courtesy list is one aspect, and the other is the hacking bug.
Well, you have to hit another button. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
Oh,
It's there. I can
It's
show
there.
you.
It's
okay.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
it's
show
there.
me that.
Yeah.
So
No, we went over it.
Well, I mean, it shows all of the hacking programs. Not.
So with that
Not
with that
by
being
list.
said, with that being said though, and these are minor. The app itself is.
it's still amazing.
I mean, it's still one of those lifesavers because if you are a techie person and you have it uploaded on your iPad, you just show up and you're like, all right, let's play. Like, and I can just scroll and click on something like, oh, what's that? And I don't have to pick up a piece of paper
Yep.
and blah blah blah.
I mean, it's
Very
far and
easy.
away more advanced than a lot of other war games out there.
Oh my god, they're
Yeah, it's
the
light years.
nightmares. Yeah, the nightmares of
Army Builder.
Yeah.
Oh,
my PTSD of Army
Yeah.
Builder. Oh, I'm sorry. The book is different than the FAQ. The one that came out. Which FAQ are you talking about? The one that came out yesterday. What?
What?
It'll be updated in 2 weeks here. Oh, okay. Well,
So my game, I played Capture and Protect. Yeah, Capture the Flag. So I played against William. I ran Capiculki, and he ran Akari. And I had 3 Yon-Yons that dropped in. All 3 of them landed and made him change his facing so that in the rest of my first turn, I was able to push up the board and shoot people.
Ow.
It was fun.
I rarely ever try to land a yon.
Oh yeah, I was landing in his backfield.
they ain't great.
I will say that's why I did run the Thoracati with the 360 visor.
Oh, Randy's gonna yawn.
Yep,
Yeah,
he's a yawn.
He's a
Yawn.
yawn.
I'm a snoozing yawn. I did that because I honestly had no idea what you're playing. The great thing about not knowing all of the armies is that you just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, when you're the person that knows all the armies and you're like, oh, that does this and this and I need to how to I don't really give a shit. I'm gonna deploy. You do your thing and we'll see what happens. I don't care. I'm gonna sit here and have
Well, you don't
pizza
overthink
waffles.
it. You also don't overthink it.
No.
How was the pizza waffle?
So we discussed this. So we have
Because
here-
that's one of the last waffles from Cardboard Corner.
So for those of you who don't know, Cardboard Corner Cafe is also attached to the game. So the game room goes tabletop, game and hobby, the
Right.
store. There's a game room, and then the other side of that, there's Cardboard Corner Cafe, and they're all connected, right?
Yep.
You can get drinks and food, and Cardboard Corner Cafe's niche or kitschy thing is waffles, right?
Right.
So they have like fancy waffles. So like I've had a buffalo chicken waffle, which
is very good.
which is like a cornbread waffle with like buffalo chicken and dressing on it. That pulled pork one, but Randy and I had this pizza one. Basically, it was a cheese waffle
Yeah.
with pepperoni pizza toppings and sauce on it, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of their whole. They've got a bunch of dessert ones too, which I haven't tried yet because I'm pretty close to diabetes already, so I don't know if I need the extra push.
Wilford
Yeah. But it's a really cool idea. We actually all discussed it early when they started. It's like I'm glad they just didn't do like burgers and fries.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that.
That's something
Because that gets old. So my honest feedback of the pizza waffle, my honest, it was good. Could have been better. And I say that of how it's done. So it's a cheese waffle, right? So it's good. And then they put pepperoni on it, and then they give you like a sauce to dip it, a marinara dipping sauce, right?
Okay.
So it feels like pepperoni waffle, I guess. I think the better way to make it, if I were redoing it and reimagining it, would be a cheese waffle, but I wouldn't cook it all the way to done. What I would do is I would cook it to almost done, and then I would sauce it, pepperoni it, cheese it, and put it in a salamander. And
not the tag.
Not the tag. And
Or
melt
the
lizard, and melt the cheese and the pepperoni, like, because it's so fast when you put it under like a little salamander in a kitchen, and then serve it that way. So then you have a done waffle, and then you would have the crispy cheese, the marinara, and the pepperoni, and then you could cut into the waffle instead of dipping it, and you could always serve it with it more marinara and dip it into that. But I mean, that leads to a vessel for a pizza, and honestly, you could do if they ever wanted to, and they're not going to because it is a cafe, and they serve waffles as the vessel for everything else, and so you make it simple, so pepperoni cheese or just cheese. But you could have went to mushrooms, and there's a lot of things you can add to those things when you just put it under a salamander because it cooks it so fast. That would be how I would have changed it. It's still a very good snack food. It's a very good,
Yeah, the pizza waffle to me, of all the other ones I've had, is more of a snack.
Yeah.
Right. Like the other, like the pulled pork one, the buffalo
like a meal.
chicken one, they were more mealy,
Mealish.
right?
Yeah.
I think though, when Randy and I talked about it, every one that I've had, a waffle by itself is very dry.
Yeah.
So every one I've had, I wanted more sauce.
Sauce, yeah. It's kind of like the you want syrup on it. Like we use chicken and waffles, chicken fingers and waffles. They do chicken and waffles here too, which is it's basically chicken fingers and waffles. I feel like you want an extra sauce because the chicken sucks up the sauce, the waffle sucks up the sauce, the syrup, and you need more just to get through all of it. But then you also get type 2, and that's what it is.
Diabetes and diabetes.
Diabetes. Come here. You got a burny mouth.
That's not
Whoa.
diabetes.
I'm going to give you that diabetes.
Thank
I don't
you
think
for the
that's how that
diabetes.
works.
And on that note, so Rob played a game.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
definitely not as entertaining as our game.
No, obviously not. He talked for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
about
he
it.
did.
Apparently
And
wasn't
our
very
game,
excited about
our
his
game,
Well,
our game.
my opponent is not here.
Hold on a second.
Oh, you're gonna mute me again.
All right, so
Okay.
Randy.
So talk to me. So this is amazing having a mixing board while we're doing these. So maybe next time we do this, maybe you two should play, and then you guys can talk about how bad you both are and how Randy is the PFP champion. Season N4 champion of us right now. I have beat Ryan. I have beat him. They have not played. I am one.
You also haven't played Rob.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Rob, listen, let's be honest. Rob's terrible. Okay, Rob is terrible. So I have beat you. I am now the undefeated, undisputed, personal flaps paper heavyweight champion of the world.
I mean, he's not wrong, which is the bad part about that.
Well, the thing that I like that no one can see at home or as they're listening driving in their car is the fact that Randy was making this belt motion like Aaron Rodgers in a touchdown dance. Considering how Randy feels about the Green Bay Packers,
Shut your mouth.
I'm just
This is a Ric Flair moment.
WWE.
I'm not gonna do it with my alligators on. Okay, we're gonna do this. I'm a PFP shirt wearing.
Yeah.
Sneaker heaven.
Slim
Models
Jimmy.
kind of put together. Paying for people to paint. Playing with not bringing my tape measure. Playing with my steel Felix on. Woo! I am. So I think.
No, we did say the best part about our game is before it even started. We go. Do you know where I'm going with this, Randy?
Yeah.
we go. I'm like, all right. So this scenario we're playing. We've got one classified each.
Oh yeah.
I shovel up, and Randy shovels up cards and puts a number to cut. I go, Randy, did you take the red ones out of your deck? He goes, what red ones?
The red ones. And he goes,
Rabbit.
and so everybody in the room looks at me, and I'm like, there's red and green ones now, and they're like, yeah, for like the last 2 years. I'm like, I haven't played in literally.
So he had
2
the
years.
old classified deck, and Randy goes, I spent like the last 2 days just going through all these cards and reading them, know what they do.
Yeah, I've been looking at the cards. I had to find them last night. It took me almost 30 minutes to dig them out of a box. I'm like, oh, there's the classified deck. Don't forget that, Randy. No. So I got made fun of for that. So my victory
is that much sweeter.
Yeah. So not only did I not know that there's this new classified system, not only did I not know what my army did.
If it's 2 years old, it's not. It's not considered new.
It's new to me. Okay, I've never had it. So not only did I not understand what my army did, other than it's good, and not only did I not know what the class. So then we had this thing in our game where I said, I'm going to hack your HVT, and Ryan goes, you can't do that. I go, I really want to do that. And
No,
he's
you're like, I have to. My card says I have to. And I go, which one do you have? He goes, oh, no, you don't hack it. You just have to succeed.
Yeah, whatever. So,
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, he tried to do it through a repeater.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
So in my defense, it wasn't allowed. So because Ryan didn't, cover that sector. Oh no, his models were dead. I just walked up and did it. So it was,
No.
No, I did. I failed.
No,
I
he
failed.
walked up and tried to do it like 4 times.
Yeah. It was the thing. It was the comical thing of, all right, on order 7, I'm going to hack. Okay. Order 6, I'm going to hack. Order 5, we're going to get this. So I got to order 2 from 7 to 2, and I was like, well, my last order, I'll move Achilles over here. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't even get it done.
But I think
Wow.
from now on, because I have the RPG this weekend that kicks off, I think that I should get like a title.
Oh, you have one.
Lord Savior of PFP.
No, that's not
No.
it.
PFP. You know what? As a matter of fact, whenever I come into the game room from here on out, I demand.
Yeah, mute
Don't
him.
do
Mute him.
Damn you, me! So I think from now on, whenever I come into the room,
Randy is muted again.
I think from now on, I think Queen should play whenever I walk into the room. I think it should be Randy is the champion. You guys should sing it to me. You can be like, you've paid your dues.
That check's in the mail.
Time after time.
And still in the mail.
You didn't paint your models. But you win anyway.
Oh, Lord.
We've made mistakes. See, this is the disrespect. I'm the Rodney Dangerfield of this podcast. I kick their asses.
No.
On accident.
People liked Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, that's true. Son of a bitch. I win, and yet there's no respect. I got no respect. I got no respect here. No, just no respect.
None.
That sucks.
All right. So, to kind of pull us back on time. So, Randy, of our game tonight, if you're playing a game, what is your one takeaway? Like, so going into your next game, either the list, if you're going to change the list, if you're going to approach the game, what's your one takeaway?
If I have a takeaway, it's I need to have different ammo types. I had a lot of combi rifles in the list. Like a lot of, I had 2 of pieces that I was moving around a lot. I had 2 or 3 combi rifles. I did have the 2 submachine guns, but the problem is cutting through heavy armored pieces coming through. I think my list, like you talked about your list being tailored a kind of a certain way. Steel Phalanx is kind of a hiccup for what you're playing against. I think my list is definitely would have been used against more like a horde type army. I throw a lot of shots downrange when I want to, and I'm hoping you're a 1 wound model with like a low armor, and I'm just going to keep kill. You're just going to drop. But that's not the game anymore. 15 models, and a lot of people are going to run a 10 order, or kind of what you did list, and they're going to have some big nasties in that, and you have to have at least 2 ways to take it down.
Well, see, you did though.
No, I
because Tusser
did. No, right. But I mean, Tusser does, right? So I had two real ways to do it, but I needed to change the hacker from what it is from an Evo just to a regular hacker, which would have made it exponentially better. The pieces though of how I like to play with an aggressive, like when I take the hit and I come back forward, the pieces I'm going to move forward had combi rifles, because the Firebach isn't really going to move. It's going to hold down that spot, maybe pivot. Atlantia, I moved her once. Like I shimmied her over to get a better fire lane at you, to shoot at you a couple times. But it's Achilles, it was Machion, it was Pentelesia. They were running up the board.
Have you looked at Phoenix?
I have Phoenix, and I like Phoenix. The problem that I get in list building is I start liking a style, and
niche.
I overload it. So I initially, when I was making my list,
I took 3 Zeodrons.
No, I get that, but I started looking at my list, and I had 3 snipers at one point. So I had Atlantia, I had the marksman, and who's the other one? Shoot, I forgot. But I think I was going to toast her with the K1. And so I was like, well, that's too much one shot at a super duper distance coming at you. I'm going to get annihilated in the ARO portion of the game. I need to have something. I don't know Steel Phalanx inside and out. I need to look at some things. I should have fire teamed some things up a little bit better. I don't know. I still want to play with Hector a little bit. I want to see what he's capable of. But my mind's already moving to nomads, and we were talking about the puppet bots. But the one thing that if I have to change for in 2 weeks when I play again will be taking my Steel Phalanx list and picking a different aggressive piece that has some hurt in it. With maybe a boarding shotgun, maybe something with some armor piercing, something that can really jack you up. Because Pentelesia can come around the corner and close combat you. I'm still not sold on close combat in this game.
Yeah.
I really am not. I don't like that mechanic.
Yeah, no, I think that. Yeah, I think there's some work that needs to be done in close combat. I don't know what it is, but
or what that looks like.
It's the one.
Yeah.
It's the one dice. I think that's really detrimental. But I think that you kind of bring up a good thing. And so if you need to pick up another aggressive point. So piece. So if it's like if you've got a crutch. If Achilles is your crutch, you always take Achilles because it's easy. Then you make yourself a rules. I'm not taking him. I cannot take him in a list, right? And I think that's a good assignment for or thing for anybody, right? Just to like if this is like, and it's the whole reason that Onyx doesn't have any MSV2 in my list because I was using them a lot in the Toha, and then I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to deal without stuff. So I don't take MSV2. and onyx. And so I think those are good restrictions to kind of like, okay,
Right.
I always do this. I always lean on this. So I'm going to just remove it. I'm not going to build a list with it, and you just do everything you can to not include that stuff, and then see how you change, right, and grow.
Well, I mean, I think that's why. So taking affinities to chess again. I think people play chess kind of two ways. One, you play aggressive with the queen. You'll see somebody play, and the queen's
Use it as
out.
a sword.
The queen's out in 2 moves. Like you're like, boom, okay, queen's out. Here we go. I'm going to play queen. You know, they might set up a little defense, and here comes the queen. And then you have people that you'll be playing, and you're like, you ever going to move the queen out?
Nope.
Like it just sits back, right? It's very, very defensive. I tried that tonight where I was like, I am not going to play steal Achilles.
Yeah.
Which is, going crazy with Achilles. I think he has a better purpose. I'm just trying to figure out what that is.
Well, that's why it's like if you don't even put him in your list, and you don't even give yourself that option to rely on it.
But the problem is that, I mean, like after today, Atlantia is the auto. He's not the auto. She's the auto include, right? She's the auto. The easy.
Yeah,
include.
she's 1.5 SWC and 44 points every time.
Simple model you're always bringing in. The problem is that what Achilles does do though, still, and when he stops doing this is when I'll stop playing him. He's worth all of his points every single time. Because the second he hits the table,
the mental game,
everybody's head goes, okay, I got to deal with that.
That's a problem.
And the problem is that it's not really what you need to deal with.
Well, see, the thing is, you say that, but that's literally, I was like, I'm just going to strip orders. I need to clear Atlanta,
Starve
right,
Achilles,
and then steal orders. So I wasn't really like figuring out how I'm going to take out Achilles. Is how I was going to take orders, which, let's face it, is
it's the way you should
do.
deal
Look,
with it. Right. But the problem is, the thing with Achilles though is, if you have to go first, if Steel Phalanx has to go first, if the die roll would have been different, you'd have said, "Hey, I'm going to deploy second," and then I'd have been like, "Oh, well," and had it went differently, right? And I had to go first. You have to worry about where Achilles is going to go because he's going to run at you at breakneck speed, shooting a Spitfire more than likely. And he's going to roll. He can roll up flanks.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that I don't even think Achilles is good at rolling up flanks so much as he's good at running into the middle of the board, going, "Okay, I'm here. I'm behind cover, and suppressive fire go.
Yep.
Take your turn. I don't do whatever you want to do, and I have snipers behind you, and I am going to you as soon as you come around the corner, you're going to take so much fire and it's not even just how much fire you're taking; it's how much fire you're taking at high rolls.
Yeah.
Because the BS numbers
not only high rolls, but also the negatives.
I'm putting negatives on you, but so you're rolling. You have to roll a small window to succeed. My window for success is huge at all times.
Yeah, 'cause you're going to be rolling like 18s.
Yes,
15s,
15s, 18s, 12s,
and,
10s.
Another person's going to be rolling 7s.
Yeah.
Right, and so you get more dice than I do, but I don't care because my 2 dice at 18 is better than your 4 dice at 5.
7.
Yeah.
7. I don't care. Atlantia becomes twisted broken if she had mimetism. If she had mimetism, she's done. That's ball game on everybody. Like, pack your shit and go home. You're gonna play Steel Phalanx in your game store from 3 different people are gonna play Steel Phalanx because she's gonna be that bananas.
Yeah.
I probably will leave him out next time. I might throw Hector down just to see. If I decide to kind of play Steel Phalanx for another 6 to 8 months, I could see myself adding a couple other little pieces. I might throw down something like Ajax. I could see Ajax coming down as an anchor.
I like Ajax since the update.
Yeah, I could see him as a sit down model. But now, if I'm going to rethink the list, whenever I did Steel Phalanx, I clicked on Achilles version 1 in. Okay, and now what else? What I got points for? And now it's going to be the other way around. Here's Atlantia, total reaction, and how many points do I got left? 256 points. So here we go. Let's play the game.
Thrackatah.
Yeah. So Rob, what was your one takeaway?
Let's see. My one takeaway is that I would have to say playing games is awesome. Just being able to come out hang out with the fellas, drink while I'm playing games, getting ready for, whatever. I really like in terms of in-game playing games, I really enjoyed the multiple fire teams, having duos with, a Rafiq.
During your game?
Yeah, during my game. The Rafiq and the Azrael. That was really nice. And having a core fire team was amazing. That was mixed with, and I ran QK, Kapakauki. So I ran some Aguaseals with Gulams and Alila Sharif and kind of held down the center with those.
So your takeaway is that just how to
playing
use
the games.
but like using
Yeah, my
those,
takeaway
using those fire teams, and especially the mixed fire teams.
The mixed fire teams and being able to run multiple fire teams. Even though you're only allowed one core, but having the two duos or having multiple Harris.
You can only have one Harris, I think. I think you have multiple duos.
Multiple
but only
duos,
one
one Harris, and
one.
then multiple triads.
Well, triads are different.
Yeah. That's Toha.
Because that's only Toha.
Yeah, but I think
Well,
having the
Spiral
multiples.
Spirals has two.
They're still Toha.
Yeah.
Having the ability to just play games and get into it with people, that was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said it a couple times now. We're still all breaking off the rust.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember, and then with the new edition, because that's when Randy and I were going. There was things I was like, okay, it used to be this way, but I know they changed it, but I don't know how they changed it. So we'd have to
remotes going prone. I mean, that was huge.
Yeah.
Still having the ability to combat jump.
Yeah.
And actually stick the landings. That's amazing. But having the ability to have that little, combat jump PH11 in parentheses, so that way this is what I'm looking for.
Well, and I also think, like you're saying, kind of back to your takeaways of playing the games is, we theory crafted there for 9 months. Right?
Oh,
10 months, something like that. We're theory crafting, and so now that we're putting on the table, you're like, okay, well, this was the idea, and you do something, you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
Well, like in my mind, I can see it laying out this way, but in actually how it works, you're like, oh no, it doesn't work because of all of these other things that I wasn't thinking about.
And the list that I ran tonight was a variant of the armory. When the three of us talked about running the armory, it was, oh yeah, I'm going to do this thing. And you had made mention of, for the armory, running a mobile regatta. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make kind of more of the all-comers list. And I'm going to run 2 Azraels for QK. And that worked out really well. Because one running the AP HMG, they've got continuous damage. Oh, yeah. I'm reaching out. I'm touching people. And it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, my takeaway really was, as I think about it, how to deal with Hotlanta specifically, and then so what I do is really, if I would have combined order and done 2 of the Zeodrons and my Q drone, and made the Q drone the spearhead, right? So he would have only been rolling 2 dice, right? But I put all 3 of those on in range on Hotlanta, or inside on Hotlanta. She can only shoot back at 1 of them.
Yeah.
Which means I'm going to have two models on a post. And so even if you're shooting at the Q drone, so she's putting all her dice on the Q drone, right, which would be the most dice the other guys want, there's a good chance that I'm stopping her, right? And I'm also repositioning 3 models. So, so to me, I'm like, I've got to remember that. Like, that's how you don't try to go one-on-one. I don't try to try to go one-on-one. You stack some of that.
Well, I think that's the thing that we didn't do. We didn't do fire teams today. We didn't really have fire teams put into our and we should. I mean,
I've got nobody in that fire.
Right, and I think that if you're going to, I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans that I've never really touched on. Steel failings. What is it? Portcullis.
Patroclus, yeah.
Portcullis, whatever, porta potty. I don't care.
Porta potty.
He's another
the hollow.
The hologram.
Hologram.
Yeah. So I mean, there's shenanigans that can be done. I think that if I had a second takeaway, it's that
you only get 1.
Yeah, I'm taking 2.
I'm trying to wrap us up here so you can get home. So you only get 1 takeaway.
Oh, I'm already an hour late, dude. The wife aggro is going to be fucking real, bro. Like, the wife aggro is going to be epic. Last time we did this, and I was like 45 minutes late.
Tell her you're with me. She loves me.
Yeah. Okay, listen. Let me tell you what she
Everybody
did.
loves Ryan.
Listen, everybody. My wife loves all of you guys until I'm 45 minutes or an hour and a half late. When I sit, and so then I came home and she was already asleep.
Oh,
And like she was already, I say asleep. Let me do the air quotes. She was already in bed and had locked everything up with the lights off, acting like she was asleep. So when I came home, it's like, "Oh, you woke me." I didn't wake you up. I said, stop right now. And so that tonight when I got here, I said, "Hey," I called her. I said, "Hey, we're gonna start recording." She goes, "You haven't already started?" And I was like, "Oh, here we go."
No.
Yep.
I said, "Don't worry. I will. We'll be done by 9. Rob's finishing up his game. We're gonna start recording at 8. We'll be done at 9, and then I'll head home." It is now 10 o'clock. When I said I was actually going to be walking in the door now, and she texted me like 45 minutes ago. She's like, "I thought you'd be home by 9:30." And I was like, "I said 10." Yeah, I blew that up. So the wife capital I need right now. This is going to be.
So we might as well just record for another 2 hours because
2
you're
hours.
already in trouble.
No, fuck that. Okay, I have to work in the morning. I have to work in the morning, and
And I think the cafe is going to close at 10.
Yeah.
So.
yeah. Well, she said we could stay as least. Well,
Oh.
but whatever.
You already talked to Madeline.
Yeah. See, I'm awesome.
Everybody
All right,
loves
well,
Randy.
But everybody loves Randy because I'm a winner, and you guys are losers.
Except for Mrs. Randy.
What was your second takeaway then?
My second takeaway is I'm a winner, and I forgot now. I
Let me
don't
just
know.
mute you again.
Thanks. All right. Well, so I guess we should wrap this up and head home.
Yeah, I think now that we're like recording together, it's the conversations are probably going to be a little more informative. Hopefully, as
And
we
fluid.
as we start talking.
As we
to
actually,
people.
as we actually get to play.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say. And as we're playing games now, we're going to start seeing things laid out that we've talked about for the last 9-10 months, right? So hopefully you as a listener are going to start like, okay, this is what they talked about, this is what we're thinking, and now that we're playing games, like, okay, here's how that actually plays out.
Yeah. Well, I am going to. I think the next time I play, I am going to bust out Nomads. I think I am going to proxy the full-on list. I am obsessed with Spectres right now.
They're good.
I'm obsessed with the idea of it. I want to see if it's working.
What was that, dude? There's that Nomad guy that I...
And then Ryan's gonna give me the bases that he owes me, like all of them. I'm not giving you $1 a piece.
God, what is
50
it?
cents a piece?
50
cents? 250.
I give 5 cents. 5 cents. 5 cents.
I'm looking for the Nomad guy that I hadn't really paid any attention to until once I saw somebody playing it, and then I was like, what is that, dude? Base with an E. What the hell is it?
I don't know, Ryan. Why don't you tell us?
That's what I'm looking for.
Murat?
Equals MC squared.
Swear it was a... All right. Well, this is great radio.
Good,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
job. Good
Yeah.
podcasting.
Wow.
I guess Rob's reading this out.
Yep.
So on that note,
So-
guys.
The Evaders. The EVA Tactical Group.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Those.
Yeah.
I don't care. Shut up.
You should care.
Shut up, Meg.
Specialist off. Oh my god! I just saw a thing with her talking about that.
What? Shut up. Shut
Yeah,
up.
I was
Meg.
watching.
Shut up, Meg.
I was watching a thing on. I was watching a YouTube thing, and Mia Kunis on there, and they're talking about people when he's like interviewing. I was like, I'm sorry, I just keep picturing Meg. She goes, yeah, everybody gets that. And she goes, you know what I get the most on the street?
Shut up, Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
Some people say to her the most.
Yeah, I've seen that interview. Shut up, Meg. I mean, that's what I would. That's the third thing I would say to her.
Nope.
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 Nope. That's a nope, bro.
And this is a family show. Okay, so on that note, guys, next, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
All right.
Dice for fickle bitches. Bye.
Dice for fickle bitches. I said it at the beginning.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you don't listen to you half the time.
Randy's want to know, baby.
All right, bye.
Tabletop Game and Hobby. Located at 9156 Metcalf Avenue in Overland Park, Kansas, zip code 66212, has for over 25 years been the Kansas City area's premier game store, specializing in non-electronic games, carrying a massive variety of board games, miniature games, role-play games, classic games, and gaming accessories. Stop by, see what we have to offer, or give us a call at area code 913-962-4263, or visit us online at tabletopgameandhobby.com.
Background music. Flying Species. The Yellow Flying Cog. The use of these human works of music is granted under the current Creative Commons license terms and agreements. From the freemusicarchive.org from the artists as listed. Thank you.
Tabletop Game and Hobby, located at 9156 Metcalf Avenue in Overland Park, Kansas, zip code 66212, has for over 25 years been the Kansas City area's premier game store, specializing in non-electronic games, carrying a massive variety of board games, miniature games, role-play games, classic games, and gaming accessories. Stop by, see what we have to offer, or give us a call at area code 913-962-4263, or visit us online at tabletopgameandhobby.com.
Background music. Flying Species. The Yellow Flying Cock. The use of these human works of music is granted under the current Creative Commons license terms and agreements. From the freemusicarchive.org from the artists as listed. Thank you.